What's going on, guys? Ferocity here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We got our first look at some of the cosmetics that are going to be in Battlefield 6. And the community hasn't really been taking it very well. To say they're outraged would be a pretty accurate statement. There's a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, and a lot of disappointment. Now, I'm going to put the skins up on screen for you guys right now, and you guys can come to your own conclusion, as I have. But I gotta be honest here. I'm going to commend the Battlefield community for putting their foot down right now. Because I think the Battlefield community understands the situation they're in. If they give EA and DICE an inch, they're going to take a mile. And how long is it before these cosmetics start to devolve into something much worse than what they are right now? If you don't speak up now, it's only going to get worse. Because guess what EA and DICE are going to do? They're going to try to continuously push the envelope. Try to appeal more and more to the lowest common denominator instead of appealing to the Battlefield community. And that's not what Battlefield wants. If there's one thing I've been able to take away from the Battlefield community since I've really started to be a part of it, they love the identity of this franchise. And they want the identity of this franchise to be maintained and cherished. And they are extremely fragile right now because they're concerned that EA and DICE have ulterior motives. They have different plans. They want the game to appeal more to casuals. They want the game to become more like Call of Duty because they want the success that Call of Duty has. And who can blame them, right? Call of Duty is an extremely financially successful business. I'm not going to deny that. But I think something needs to be said for creating games for your community. Instead of always trying to chase the casual player, why not just try to chase your own fans? Like, that's one thing I feel about Call of Duty over the last few years, the way I've felt about Halo ever since Halo 4. They're more concerned about chasing the casuals than maintaining their core player base. So what happens? They alienate them. They erode away the traditional gameplay in favor of this casual game that nobody likes because they want to appeal to everybody, but they end up appealing to nobody. So I get Battlefield fans not wanting to see that. They want their Battlefield experience to be Battlefield. So I'm with you here. I totally understand it. Now, personally, my thoughts are pretty in line with what Tom Henderson had to say here. I see the Battlefield 6 skin discourse has started. While I agree with not having wacky skins in the game, these really are not that bad. The reality is that no one is going to buy the Battle Pass en masse for a bunch of dog shit desert camo skins. Sorry, but they are just not. And I agree with that. I agree that they're not going to be selling Battle Passes for a bunch of mil-sim skins. It's just not happening. But maybe that's what we have to come to terms with. Maybe Battlefield 6 just isn't one of those games that they need to sell a Battle Pass en masse. Maybe EA just has to realize that that's not what their game is. That they're better off trying to appeal to the purists, to the Battlefield community, than trying to gather as many casuals as possible. I don't know, that's just me. Like, there's a reason why I'm extremely interested in Battlefield 6, and it's not because they're trying to lean more into Call of Duty. I don't want that. I'm playing Battlefield 6 because they're trying at least to maintain some sort of identity. They want to be Battlefield at their core, while testing the waters with Call of Duty mechanics in some places. I personally think Battlefield is at its best when it's being Battlefield. Same thing can be said for Halo. Halo is at its best when it's being Halo. Call of Duty is at its best when it's being Call of Duty. When games stay in their lane and stop trying to merge into other categories, that's when they are their best. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, do your thing and do it really, really, really well. And I think that's one of the big issues with Battlefield 6 so far, is that it's not doing Battlefield really, really, really well. The maps are a major complaint by a lot of people in this community. The challenges are a chore, and it just doesn't feel like you have that same level of destruction that creates that level of immersion that older Battlefield games had. And they've got to do something about that. The way to do that is not to create a bunch of skins that people don't want. And I don't know what the happy medium is, because I do understand that at the end of the day, it is a business. And to be able to give us free content drops, every 2-3 months, we need to spend some money on the game as well, right? Like it's a quid pro quo. They give us content, we buy things. And I get that. But they need to do this carefully. And I think the Battlefield community needs to be smart about this. And I think what they've done is they've planted their flag here and they've said, you know what? This is too far, which again, I will say might be an overcorrection because they are fearful of what these skins could become. But I think it's the right sentiment to share at this point in time, because EA and DICE are going to look at this and they're going to say, okay, so this is about as far as we can take it without complete and utter outrage everywhere. Because some people are okay with it and a lot of people aren't. And I think it's okay to live in this space. I don't think these skins are going to push people away from playing the game. But if you add these skins with skins that are getting a little bit crazier and pushing the envelope a little bit more, that's when we're going to see a problem. And that's when Battlefield is really going to be tested with their community. And maybe we don't see that. Maybe this is as far as they go because they see the outrage. And I hope that's the case. Because like I said, I think EA and DICE need to focus on making Battlefield. Make Battlefield 6 the best Battlefield game as they possibly can be, and then worry about everything else later. Fix the problem the game has, and then try to figure out a way to capitalize on all of the goodwill that you've built up. Because I'll promise you this. If you take your time and fix Battlefield 6 the way the community has asked for it to be fixed, you'll reap a lot more financial reward than just trying to jam-pack this game full of skins that appeal to the casual player, appeal to the lowest common denominator. That's where you're going to go wrong. Make your game great and then reap the rewards of a community that's loyal to you, that's committed to you, that trusts you. Like, I think one thing that we're losing here is how important it is to have the trust between your community and developer. And EA and DICE have a lot of work here. They have a lot of work to be done because the game isn't in a state where a lot of people are super pumped about it. It's fun, don't get me wrong. It's a fun gameplay experience. I'm not going to deny that. But to think they can just stop at fun isn't good enough. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I understand the outrage. I understand where the Battlefield community is coming from. There is fear. There is concern that if they let it go now, it'll only get worse. And I don't want to see that, and I doubt you want to see that. I think in all reality, the best way forward is that we keep it pretty grounded. Is that they know if they overstep the line, we're not going to support them. Because we're covering up for their mistakes now. We're all here saying, yeah, Battlefield 6 is super fun despite its flaws. But how much longer can you say that? Once they start shoehorning in a bunch of skins that ruin the identity of the game, ruin the atmosphere of the game. Is that something that you can live with? Like, for me, I love the immersion that Battlefield 6 has. I love the gameplay. I can't get that anywhere else. I can get Beavis and Butthead skins on Call of Duty. I can get Family Guy skins on Fortnite. I can get Simpsons skins on Fortnite. I don't need that here in Battlefield 6. But do you know what I love about Battlefield 6? I love the fact that I can go and revive my teammates 20 different times in a game. I can jump off buildings and do a barrel roll. I can hop into a tank. I can fly a jet. I can fly a helicopter. That's all fun. That's all awesome. I love that. Lean into that instead of trying to be something you're not. And I think that's what the takeaway needs to be. I think that's really the path forward here. I don't think that the best way forward for Battlefield 6 is to try and identify what is the line instead of just saying we need to just give our fans the best experience possible. And to get back to what Tom Henderson said, like, I get where he's coming from and I'm not disagreeing with him, but maybe Battlefield 6 doesn't need to be that game that sells a bunch of battle passes. Maybe it doesn't need to be the battle pass games that Fortnite and Call of Duty are. Maybe its reliance is on just creating a really fun core experience that players continue to flock to and come back to. Maybe it's the fact that they're able to retain players better than any other game, not because they're relying on collaborations, not because they're relying on cosmetics, but because they're relying on the immersion and gameplay experience that they can deliver. That sounds like a game that I actually want to play, that I actually want to pour hours upon hours upon hours into. Sounds like a lot better of an experience than what we're getting right now in a lot of AAA games. Like, that's honestly what I love about Battlefield right now. And I'm not saying that a few skins is going to completely erode that for me, but for some players it will. And as you lose more and more players that are at their core Battlefield 6 purists, I think the game gets worse as a result. I don't think the best way to go about this is to chase the casual player in favor of losing a Battlefield player. Like that to me just feels like an unfair trade-off. Like I've seen a lot of discourse within the Battlefield community that has been like shaming Battlefield purists. Guys that come in here and say, we need closed weapons. We need the game to feel and play more like Battlefield 3 and 4. We need more destruction. We need bigger maps. We need the game to feel less like Call of Duty. I am glad that there's that many people in this community that want to push back and push for the original identity of Battlefield. Because that's honestly what we need. We need more advocates for the original identity of the game. I said it earlier in this video, but like, stop trying to become what everyone else already is. You're Battlefield. Lean into the destruction. Lean into the warfare. Lean into the vehicle experience. That's what you should be focused on. That should be where your bread and butter is. Let Call of Duty handle the arcade style experience. Let Halo be that long TTK game. Focus on Battlefield being Battlefield and making it the best Battlefield it can be. I know I'm repeating myself, but it bears repeating because I believe it's extremely important. And this is why I've kind of talked myself into siding with a lot of this Battlefield community on the skins thing. Don't let them rob you of this game. Don't let them rob you of your experience because they want to chase the bag. This is the perfect time to remind them who has the control here. It's not them, it's us. And us not opening up our wallets to spend money on these cosmetics tells them everything they need to know. They're not good enough. They're too far to one side. Now, of course, maybe in classic EA fashion, they'll take it as I guess they're not wacky enough and then release a bunch of wacky skins. But I really hope they get the message. The message is be Battlefield. That's what it comes down to. So that's where I'm going to leave the video today. I know I ran a little bit longer than usual, but honestly, I just had a lot to say here. And I really hope you guys understand. If you did, can you please hit that like button? If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Honestly, thank you.